Hey guys, welcome to Well Tell by KTW. In today's series, we're going to be talking about motherhood, parenting, and running a business. Meet Harsha. She's a mompreneur, and she has her own skincare brand called Remember. She started her brand during her pregnancy, and she launched it when her baby was just 9 months old. And today, she's balancing mom life and business life like a pro. Hi, Harsha.
Thank you, Vedika, for the lovely introduction.
You started your skincare brand, remember, when your daughter was just 9 months old. That's when mothers are still getting into the whole momhood phase and sleepless nights and feeding schedules. How did you balance the two, and how did you manage to bring up both your babies, Neve and Remember? How was it like?
A very beautiful question. But what I would say is it was chaotic, it was not easy, and it was very personal. The entire journey of Remember started while I was pregnant. So I think anyone, a woman who then wants to start a family, thinks a lot about hormones, thinks a lot about being well balanced because you want to conceive also very naturally. So I think when the world expected me to slow down because you're a new mom, people think that okay, she's going to take a year, she's going to take some time to come back. Is when I decided that this started when I wanted to have me. So why should it stop when I actually have me today in my arms? So it was not easy. It was a tough decision, but at the same time, I felt that it was necessary, and it just came very, very with a deep personal involvement of how important it is to have hormonal checks when you think of starting a family, and also when you have the baby around. So I would say it was not easy. It took, when she was 9 months is when, kids start getting on solid food. So it becomes a little bit more easier. And I was like, Remember was born out of empathy. And if I can't give empathy to myself of running a brand and growing a baby, then what am I doing? So it comes from a very motherly instinct of having the brand and the baby.
The two babies.
I do it.
So raising both your babies, Neve and Remember, would have been a handful. How did you juggle between the two?
Juggle is such a term. I think it's such a common word in motherhood dictionary, right? So I would say that for me it was not juggle, it was priorities. So I have like a mental matrix wherein I just divided into two simple matrices: urgent and important. Urgent is where I need to be there at that moment. So if say Neve is not well and there is something else happening which is important in my business, of course I'm doing my urgent tasks first. But if that urgent matrix has my business, but Neve is only in the important list, then I'm doing my business. It is a constant priority that will make more sense in a mother's life. Like I'll give you an example. We had a new product launch and we were set, like we were working for it for 3 weeks. And that morning, Neve has fallen ill. Well, what do? It is urgent, it is important. It falls in the same matrix. Then I go back to my why of why I started Remember. Remember was purely started with the fact that it's built on empathy, like I said. My daughter will never be 3 again. My daughter will never get 2 again. That launch can wait. Then that's the decision I made, wherein I want to be able to be a present mom, but at the same time understand the matrix very clearly. Your time will not come back, but the launch can wait. So that's how I.
That's a very good way of looking at it. Urgent and important.
Yeah.
So we've all heard people say it takes a village to raise a baby. People talk about the bigger mom problems, the challenges that moms face, but they always ignore and forget about the littler things, right? The micro things that come with it. Would you like to address that and tell us how it was for you?
A very, very thoughtful question, I would say, at the first minute I hear it. Everyone talks about, like you said, having to raise a baby is like, have a village to raise it. No one talks about how difficult it is to build this village, right? Yes, touch wood, today we have our help, we have understanding family. But then even with the help, as a mother, I'm constantly thinking about whether she has done these 10 things that a kid needs. Whether it is, whether she's taken a bath properly, whether she's out of the shower well, well, whether she's eaten well, whether she's fed on time, because at least in the first initial phase of Remember, when Neve was just 9 months to say a year and a half, she was totally relying on me even for like feeding. So then how do you then balance all of this as well? And even like I'll tell moments wherein I would, negotiate with time saying, hey, Neve's gonna sleep. I have 10 minutes, let me go for a quick shower. And the minute I'm in, I'll hear that, wah, wah, and I'm like, 10 minute ki shanti is difficult, but those micro things where you're negotiating constantly every single minute of your day because she needs you. And which is not that she's not expecting that out of you, this is something that you want to give her. But the constant struggle of negotiating with time and having to build this stronger village in a mom's head is not easy. I think that's one part of it. The second part of it also comes from the fact that how do you, like with men, when they do something, it's like, hey, this is adorable, or they're looked upon. Correct. As a woman, when you miss one thing, because you missed that one thing out of these 1,000 things we're doing, it's looked down. So it's not easy. People do understand it, but they understand it. It's not verbally told that a mom needs to hear, especially if it's a new mom and the first time. And maybe the third thing that I would also like to tell is how do you set boundaries around yourself, right? Today, if it's a mompreneur raising a kid, running a business, how do you set boundaries with people around you, whether it's your health, whether it's your family, whether it's also, in-laws maybe, or your own friends. Because then you forget, like when your friends call you, hey, we're going out somewhere, can you come? But today that's not what you want to do. Then you're setting enough boundaries even with them, saying, hey, you know what, today this is my priority. I'm not forgetting you as a friend, but I need that time to rebound and come back. So today Neve is 3, so I can do a lot of things. But when Neve was 10 months or 1 year, I did not do it. So the friends who stuck with me then are my friends today. The friends who said, hey, she's a mom and she's not going to step out anymore, are people who didn't understand that I was going through a lot more other emotions than just being a mom. Being a mom is very normal, but being a new mom has its own set of things. So yeah, I think this is what makes it easy and difficult, but at the same time very, very fulfilling.
We spoke about mom guilt and how mothers are always expected to be there and be present. Have you come across this? And how moms are always also conditioned to do it all. So I'm sure you've come across this as well, and how did you cope?
Yeah.
How did you?
Firstly, mom guilt is real. And I also think it's very culturally built, right? Like I've seen my sister who is always present with her kids, and yet she has this guilt. I mean, she's just 6 years older than me and she has kids at that age, but it's a very real instinct. Like for example, now with the skincare brand, I do a lot of flea markets and events around. There have been times when I've signed up for that event 3 months in prior, and then it so happened on the day of the event is my kid's maybe first swimming class, which just happened. And the guilt is there because you want to be present for all your kids first. Now there's a guilt, and but my daughter doesn't know the guilt, right? She just sees what you portray to her, because for kids it's like monkeys say, monkey do, right? So with what I started doing with the guilt is started teaching her with a lot of grace. In fact, I would go up to her 2 days in prior saying, hey, this is your first swimming class, get all pepped up, but hey, mama's not going to be present, but your dad is going to be present, or your nanny is going to be present, or someone else, right? That guilt is something that you can balance within yourself. It is going to eat you up, but it's about how you then deal with it. So like I said before, setting boundaries. So maybe setting boundaries in a way that you, in fact, inform your family or anyone around, say, hey, I'm going to miss it. And then you do not know, sometimes, the answers back, hey, it's okay now. We are there, we'll send you videos, we'll send you photos. So that is how you're building that village as well, right? And at the same time, trying to deal with it more gracefully rather than feeling just guilty about it all the time.
And basically not let it affect
Yeah, our mental health, honestly.
mental health and the babies.
Yeah, like the babies are resilient, you know. They are absolutely okay with anything. They may say at times, "Hey, Mama, I miss you," but that's amazing, right? That feeling is so good when someone says, "I miss you." But the feeling is also great saying, "Hey, Mama, I had a great time at swimming class today. These are my photos." Then you're like, wow, like you're raising a
Yeah.
kid to also then be independent. So I think it's real. Just treat it a little bit more gracefully and be okay with yourself. You missed a lot of other events in your life.
Yeah, you have.
It's okay if you miss one or two.
What about mom guilt and dad guilt? Is there like a difference between the two? Has your husband felt it? What do you think about that?
I'll be very, very brutally honest about it. Dad guilt is way beyond mom guilt. See, dads, even like for men, right? What are they taught to condition to provide? So instinctively they provide. As women, our instinct is nurture. So we nurture. So you know there is a lot of pressure on men. There's a lot of guilt. It's not easy for, like my husband travels 10 days a month, but he's constantly about, hey, did Neve ask about me today? When she went to bed, did she ask where's Papa? You know there is a guilt. Men face it too. We emotionally verbalize it. Men, few do, few don't. But there are ways, you know, you then come together as a couple and figure out what works well. So I think men also set boundaries. At least touchwood in my case, there have been communication has been a clear understanding with our daughter, with the two of us. So it is true. It's just that please give men that space too, because they also are conditioned to provide, and we are conditioned.
So being a woman entrepreneur in a male-dominated corporate world, have you felt like people don't take you seriously? Have you felt like, you know, people have told you that you need to prioritize family over work now that you're a mother? And have you felt like you need to prove to them that you're a mother or you're a working woman or you're both? How have you coped with it? I'm sure you felt it. How have you?
I think I've felt it almost every single minute when I started Remember, right? You know what happens is a lot of people then think that, hey, you're a new mom. Firstly, they were not even, they're like, she's just 9 months old. So it was like, oh, are you doing something on the side? Are you doing as a side hustle? Or maybe she's just dabbling with skincare because see, today, a lot of women at home do a lot of small things, etc. But what really happened was then I'm also in a phase wherein I'm trying to prove to people. So for me, I went into this phase wherein I would tell people, hey, listen, I'm in a meeting. Or I would show that, itna bulk order I'm doing. I'm constantly about, you know, getting validation from the outside world. And after a point, it hits you. Like, who are you proving this to? And why are you proving this to anybody? And that, when it hit me in 3 months, saying, hey, why am I doing all of this to prove people? And when the validation from outside world, when I got aware, let's just stop this because it's going to just get you into this rut of doing things. I just wanted to prove it by actions. And I think the most simplest way of proving things to anybody is just action karo, let the world then talk about it. So when, you know, today after 3 years, we are in 7 different stores in India. And my daughter is 3 years old. And at the same time, I don't have to call and tell people, hey, I'm in a meeting. Now, people would ask me, are you in a meeting? Can I talk to you? But that did come from a constant battle within myself. Am I proving something to the world for validation? Or am I proving something for myself? One really good thing, understanding being a mom, and this was, Neve looks up to me today. Any child looks up to their mom today. And she doesn't see whether you're a perfect mom or whether you're an imperfect mom, right? For her, you're the world. And that's literally what I do every single day. Remind myself that, hey, your daughter's looking up to you for something. Whether you're perfect or imperfect, it doesn't matter. So you don't have to prove to the world about anything. As long as I know that I'm raising a daughter who can understand that, my mom's doing this and that, and she's okay, and sometimes she's not okay. And I think sometimes being not okay is the true validation of you being a human. So yeah, I think that's how I deal with it. It's tough, but it's not the end of the world.
So we've spoken now about your career, your business.
Yeah.
We've spoken about early motherhood. Let's talk about raising a child in today's day and age, right? Like,
Yeah.
she's only 3 years old, but I'm sure you have some things in your mind that you want to already start teaching her. Do you want to talk about that?
No, and it's a very, very a great question because see, when I was growing up, right, like I'm a 89 born kid. My mom didn't come up to me and tell me about good touch, bad touch, but thankfully I had a sister who, when I was around 10 or 12 years old, would come and talk to me about good touch, bad touch, boys, etc., feelings. But today, what, I can't think like as a mom I can wait up for my daughter, or even if I had a son up to 10 or 12. I need to talk to her about bad touch, good touch. Now, she's 3.5, maybe another 6 months. So, the difference is that what do I teach a 4-year-old? Especially also because you've never had these conversations with your own mother while growing up. I don't think in my generation, at least from the family I come in, there was a very open conversation about good touch, bad touch. It was always assumed that, हाँ, इसको पता होगा. So I want to change that, of course, for my daughter or whenever, or if it was even a son. But, even then today, if I do this with her really well, and I can talk to her, because kids are also very curious today. They want to know about everything. So later on, when the time comes, I also want to talk about sex education with her because it is as important. How do we talk about, hey, after wedding, the night of the wedding, the woman knows it all. But how will the woman know it all? She's never had the conversation with at least her mom. Of course, she's had it with the friends, etc. But mom never was there to tell her. At least in my family, it wasn't. And I wouldn't blame her because that's the generation she's also come from. But I want to change that for sure. Good touch, bad touch is something I want to teach her. Boys' feelings is something that she may have earlier than what we had, maybe. Sex education she needs to know from her mother. And to end it all, I would say that, a lot of people say that mothers become friends. I would love for that to happen. But I also believe in setting boundaries there. Yes, I will be her mother. I will be her guiding, light. I would love for her to come and tell me everything and I would love to have an open mind. But I'm her mother. I will always be fearful. I will always have who's she with and what's she doing. But I will respect that she's coming and telling me that. So I will want to be her friend in many ways, but I will also want to be her mother in all ways.
This was lovely. Thank you so much, Harsha. I think that all the answers came from the heart, and we really love doing this.
No, I love doing this and having this conversation. It just felt like a very candid conversation with a friend you would have, and I feel these smaller conversations are more important, and no one has ever asked me these questions before, It just feels like you're heard. Like finally a woman is heard, a mother is heard. So thank you also for the opportunity. And this was absolutely amazing. Loved it.
Well Tell by KTW will be streaming on YouTube, Spotify and other platforms.